But all right, so
Okay.
topic of tonight, man, is going to be Bleeding Edge. So I got my boy Smooth Singer. Let me introduce you real quick. You know the homie Smooth Singer, aka the young twin. You know a lot of people say we look alike, but you know I don't know about all that. Man, tell us a little bit about yourself, Smooth.
Um, I mean, I appreciate the introduction, Jose. Pretty much. I mean, I'll consider myself like a gamer, but I do enjoy video games. I'm more of. I'm trying to think. I don't even want to put myself in a box. I pretty much just play whatever looks good or whatever I think I'm going to like.
Right.
I don't really lean towards one genre or another. I mean, the one genre I think I might be kind of weakest at, maybe a first person shooter. But other than that, everything else I think I'm good enough at least to talk about generally.
Right, for sure. And I think one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk to you is that, well, first of all, we have these good conversations in our private talks. But with this game and us recently playing Naruto Shinobi Strikers, I
Yeah.
think a lot of comparisons can be drawn from that. And I think we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I think a lot of comparisons could definitely be drawn with this game. So yeah, Bleeding Edge, I guess a short summary of this game would be um, it's developed by Ninja Theory Studios. Now, I got this confused with um, the other ninja studio. I forgot the name, but they make like Ninja Gaiden and stuff like that. Ninja, I forgot what it's called, but that's not the same.
Uh,
Like this studio is responsible for old school game called Kung Fu Chaos that was on the original Xbox, which I completely forgot about. That was like a super amazing game, dude. It was really
I
really
heard
good game.
about that.
Yeah, you were like fighting in the you were pretty much like these kung fu guys on the set or whatever in the game. It was, I think it was almost like Smash Brothers, like in its own way. And then they also
Ah,
produced DMC, Devil May Cry, so the reboot one, which I think personally was my favorite, and I think is the most underrated. A lot of people dismissed it because of Dante having that different, more realistic look to him. But yeah, man. Well, okay, so let's start off with the story or the setting of this game. What do you say about that? I mean, I don't really think there's much of a story per se, just kind of more just to set up the characters. But what do you think of the whole setting of the game?
I mean, to be honest, when I play games like this, the story I feel like it's not really important. Like
Mm,
if I learn of the story, like if I, read into it, like I guess that's cool and everything, but
right.
I mean, to me, it doesn't really it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know how
It
else
gets
to
put on the
put
back
it.
burner. It's just for people who like the lore. I feel like it's more of like, oh, I just want to know
Yes.
the lore. It gives me a kind of lets you appreciate the art and why things are the way they are. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Mm,
mean, so I'll go ahead, like if I'm playing the game, then maybe I might look into, like, the characters' bios and, like, you know, kind of like who they are and get like maybe the background story on them. But I guess the overarching story, I mean, it's a bunch of people in a death match or whatever kind of game mode they're playing. Like it really doesn't matter to me. I can't
mm-hmm.
lie.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the. I mean, if you're trying to look for a story, you're playing the wrong game. But most people that are gonna be playing this, they're gonna know that like, okay, like this isn't the focus of this game. You're in here to just kill people and play objectives, essentially. So yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I would say like the first thing that comes to my mind is like what this game reminds me of, and definitely with especially since Overwatch, there's been a lot of people are gonna compare games to that because it's the definitive, I would say, team-based game. Even though this one isn't particularly a shooter, but you know, Overwatch, all distinctive characters, all have their distinctive abilities. They have usually like two abilities and an ultimate kind of thing, or I think Overwatch may even have three, but Um, this game kind of follows that similar format of the like team-based shooter, even though this game is not a shooter, but like a team-based arena where every character is unique. They have their specific roles. You have your attack, defense, or attack like your tanks, and then your healing types. So
Yes.
that's kind of like that general audience of, um, just characters with the 2 or 3 abilities in the ultimate. Do you like that? Is that something that's kind of new to you? I know you didn't play Overwatch, so what kind of comes to your mind when you play this game?
So, like you said, I didn't play Overwatch. Um, I do think this game is interesting as far as it's not a shooter, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think. So, the character I like, I forget his name. What the heck is his name?
I have the list right here, man. Give me a description. The healer?
It's yes.
Zero Cool. I pulled
Zero
up the list.
Cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I like Zero Cool, and I guess I don't know how to explain it, but he's a projectile character, but he's still a healer, so his projectiles don't really feel, they're not strong at all. Like that's not really his role. It's he has like a constant healing beam. Pretty much that's his primary role, and that's his primary ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think. I think I think I think it's good as far as what the game is. It's not a shooter, which I can't aim for anything. I really do suck when it comes to aiming, so that's cool. But I think the game itself, it's it's fine. It just feels kind of incomplete. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know if it's to chalk it up to it being a beta or whatever it is. It feels like, I don't know, maybe like a $20 game, maybe
Right.
borderline 29.99.
Mm-hmm. And that was something I definitely wanted to get into. Now I'm gonna revert back by saying, what do you like about the game? What are the things that stand out, or the things that that make you say, you know what, I think this is something I can recommend to friends, if you can.
What I like about the game, I feel like it's easy. I think it's very easy to get into.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
Yes.
Mm.
Even for me, I was a bit worried. I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to really get into it, but I'm just gonna pick it up and try it. And I
Mm-hmm.
did the whole tutorial and everything because I didn't want to play myself and not know what the heck I was doing, just jump into a match. I thought the tutorial was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. It
You're
was a
not
very
gonna
good
be,
tutorial. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought everything that you learned at the tutorial, you're pretty much gonna need to know in the game, and it wasn't a long tutorial. It was just right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was probably one of the best things about the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the mechanics are simple. I think you have your one button combo, your ability one, your
Hmm.
ability two. You have every character has a passive, and then they have
Hmm.
2 ultimates, but they choose one out of the 2 ultimates. So that's something that I haven't really seen before, where a lot of these games, they usually have one ultimate, and usually don't see a second ultimate unless the character gets reworked or something like that. So that having 2 ultimates is actually pretty nice, and it definitely changes
I
things a
like that a
lot.
lot.
Mm-hmm. There's also a system too, which you may or may not have seen this, but essentially you can put mods to your character. So if you play like paladins,
Yes.
it works the same way as paladins almost, where paladins had these cards where you can put different cards, and that would change their character's abilities, whether it reduce the cooldown or maybe give you life steal on it, or these different like traits that you can use to cater towards your playstyle. I think that's something that the game's really gonna have to. Hopefully, it's gonna be deep, because I think it'll definitely help with the people who are gonna be a little bit more on the hardcore side, a little bit more competitive, because that's gonna help distinguish, certain builds and things like that. And I think that usually makes the game fun, having a character you could play multiple ways.
So now that you actually bring that up, this wasn't even part of my original question, but so you mentioned like the hardcore kind of players. Do you really think that this could potentially, well, potentially it could be, but do you see this game being, I guess, played in a hardcore kind of style or manner? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and people are gonna do this with every game, no matter what. I know. I'm pretty sure people are doing it with Plants vs Zombies, the shooter. And yeah, there's always gonna be a small dedicated audience, especially with games like this. Any fighting game, or arena game. Usually, fighting games die off within the first like 2 months, and then after that, the noobs and the really casual players are not really playing online anymore because the skill gaps are starting to finally show. Not everybody's on even footing anymore. So I think, there's going to be a hardcore fan base, but I'm just afraid that I'm curious on what the support for this game's going to be. And then I'm also curious on what's like the map, the road map for it, Obviously, there's probably going to be new characters. I see on the website there's already one character that hasn't been revealed. So there'll probably be new characters down the line. But I just don't know what the hardcore... Like, there's going to be a hardcore, but I'm just curious on what the player base is going to be. I'm more afraid of the player count. Thankfully, there's Game Pass. And Game Pass... I won't spoil it. But Game Pass. We'll get into it. Did you have a...
Yes.
You had a main question, though, too? What was your main question?
No, I mean, well, I would say, as far as when I was playing the game, I was wondering, maybe it was just me, but I don't even know how to even describe what this game is, but I was playing the game and I was trying to chase down someone that was like, I was trying to finish them off, but I felt like slow. Like I couldn't just run after them and go get them. Like I don't know what was going on, but did it feel slow to you when you were trying, like if you were trying to chase down someone around the corner and you couldn't really catch up without? Because I know they have that one mode where
the hoverboard.
So
And
so
the
I guess
hoverboard takes time, and they can auto attack you and hit you out of it. So it's kind of if I find it and I remember, I'll try and edit the clip that I had in here. But I was using this dude. I like the guy named El Bastardo. He's got the double blades, and he can leap, and he can do this like spin the wind move, and he can generate shields based on who's around him and stuff like that. So he's pretty badass, and he's good at 1v1s. But I had this dude who was playing Damon, aka the like mascot character. And he's like, I'm destroying him in the 1v1, and he's just literally running away. He went invisible, tried to run away. I'm like following his shadow because I could still see his invisible line. But like, I just felt like there was nothing I could do. I mean, if my ability came off a cooldown, maybe I could leap towards him. But after chasing somebody for 10 seconds, you're away from the objective. You have the risk of running into his other teammates, in which the teammate came around, and I just dip. So I think the slowness is definitely gonna be something that's a little odd. You're gonna have to pick your battles a little differently, figuring out when to disengage.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I would say I don't know what it is about the evading, or even maybe I'll get into that later. But okay, so I have to ask you, how many times would you actually parry while you were playing this game? Because I know like that was part of the tutorial, and that's like it's supposed to give you, like I guess it's if you parry them and you time it right, it's supposed to give you like a second or whatever of
Counterattack and whatnot. Yeah.
right. But
Hmm.
I can't even lie. The amount of time that it takes or the amount of time that it gives you to capitalize on it,
Hmm.
I don't know if it's really worth it.
Mm. So it is brand new. Apparently, this wasn't in the alpha, or like I think they added it to the game recently. So the mechanic is still fresh, and I mean that could be something that could be addressed before the game comes out. I'll be honest
Hope
with you,
so.
I didn't really parry too much. I played very aggressive.
Mm,
So I was more just trying to roll out the way, and then like I said, I was just spinning around in like parties of three and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think that parry mechanic is going to be really important because games like this, Naruto's the same way. You got to learn how to deal with button mashers, and it can be a little bit difficult to deal with them at the beginning when you're new to the game because your escape options are limited. And
right.
so yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see on how that whole meta goes, but um.
And I would even say when
Mhm.
I'm dashing, I don't even feel like I'm going too far. Like I burned
Mhm.
through like two dashes like that just
Mhm.
because one dash is negligible. I have to at
Mhm.
least dash twice to because if I'm dashing, I'm trying to get the heck away from someone, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
I felt like I don't know, maybe they could rework or retweak the movement of dashing and just the movement in general.
Mhm. Now, I wanted to start. I would start off with the likes, and then we'll go more into the dislikes. I know we've been kind of like going in and out
Oh,
of
my
both.
bad.
No, no, no. This isn't on you. I'm just saying, um, because I'm gonna start off with what I like, and then I'll ask you, and then I'll go for my dislikes. So as far as like what I liked about the game, I think the presentation's really nice. I like the art style. It's definitely like it's gonna give you a Borderlands vibe. It definitely the characters have that sketched look. They're all like very distinctive. They have their own personalities. They have some really unique character designs as well as a few like cliche ones. Um, the soundtrack is really good. I think it's got like a little bit of it's got a little bit of everything, man. It's just upbeat and nice. So I'm actually probably gonna grab a few of the songs off the OST whenever people start releasing it. Good OST, and it's weird because I sat and tried to think what exactly I liked about the game and the combat, and there's nothing really that makes this game really feel like it stands out. I mean, with when the game
Interesting.
got hyped up, it was like, oh, it was from one of the action directors of Devil May Cry,
Oh
and
wow.
like I said, DMC was my favorite Devil May Cry. Unpopular opinion, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, well, I said I was gonna ask you. Now I'm about to slide into my dislikes, but the dislikes, it this is kind of where it goes. It was just missing something, and
mm,
it ran well. I didn't have any connection or lag issues really. That was actually a really good for a beta. It was a smooth running beta. I didn't have any issues actually, other than a few like I'm assuming they were like lag spikes or frame drops. I'm not sure which one it was, but it only happened a few times, and it wasn't anything that affected gameplay very much. But there's just something about the game that it just needs to have. It just doesn't feel like
complete.
yeah, I don't know. Like it feels like they did what they wanted to do, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it doesn't feel incomplete, but at the same time it doesn't feel like it's enough. Like
These the cherry on top.
yeah, man. It's weird. And it's not a bad game, but thank goodness Xbox Game Pass is here to save the day because without the Game Pass, bro, there's no way I would pay money for this game. I'm just gonna throw it out there now. I would not pay money for it. But like you said earlier, when we were talking, you mentioned it being like a $20-$30 game max, which I think it's 40. But it is 30 or 40. But anyways, yeah, there's no way this is a full price game, and they knew that. There's no story mode or anything, I don't think. So, yeah, it's missing something, and it's one of those weird cases where I can't even tell you, but it's just not there. And I don't like. I feel like your abilities are on cooldown way too long with a lot of the characters. A lot of cooldowns are at least like 12 to 14 seconds. Obviously, it's gonna differ per character, but I played about half of the characters, and yeah, their cooldowns are pretty heavy. I think that just kind of really makes the action a little bit bland, because then you have to rely on your single attack. There's no light and heavy. There's literally one combo. I believe it's a 4-hit combo. And as of now, there's no like depth within that, and they don't really seem to combo into your special moves either. So you're pretty much just like, spamming that 4-hit attack, or you're trying to bait people so you can parry them. Maybe that can kind of see that meta. I think the game's too simplistic, and I just don't think that the depth is there right now. Just with it having that, it trying to hype itself up on the combat in the trailer, knowing what Devil May Cry's combat's like, but it is nothing in comparison to that. And one of the biggest issues, which is an issue with any team-based game, whether you play Overwatch, Paladins, in your case Naruto, any like team-based cooperation game, is the communication is garbage, man, and people are just like all over the place. They're not playing the objective. It's individual team deathmatch, and
individual.
You can't play by yourself. It hurts to play by yourself. Luckily, there was a guy who joined my stream when I played it, and shout out to Cartoons. And he was a real cool guy. Me and him played some rounds, and even though our mics were kind of weird, we were still communicating, because he would listen to me through the stream, and we would work out. But that was actually kind of nice. But like at the same time, it's a little bit of a cluster. The map layout's a little convoluted, but it's not terrible. It's just not all the way there. And I don't know what they can do to improve this. So I know I kind of went on for a while, but I'm gonna just put it back to you. Go ahead. I want to hear your likes and your dislikes, and if you think there's potential, and are you getting the game?
Okay, so I guess as far as likes, like I said, I was but I was a little bit apprehensive about playing, but I picked it up and it was easy to play. I didn't have any issues as far as me getting frustrated about controls or me like forgetting buttons. Like it is a very simple game, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's very intuitive. I think anyone can pretty much pick it up and start playing. I guess the main thing that you pretty much hit on everything that I was going to say as far as something being missing. I don't know, like it just feels like it feels like one of those games where you're like, oh yeah, this it kind of reminds me of this, but not quite, or maybe it's like a discounted version of another game that you really like. That's the best way I can think of to put it. Like it feels like if there was like a AAA game, but it was stripped down and you were left with the bare bones of the game, and that was it.
Almost like your interesting point. Almost like an abandoned product that they decided to finish.
I do think, I mean, you kind of already hit on it. Like it feels like besides maybe a couple of tweaks, there's not really more that they would add onto the game to make it like at least, like the meat and potatoes of the game to make it feel full. The only thing that they could really do to this point is just like tweak some of the glitches or, some of the stuff that we already said with the movement and stuff.
Right.
Maybe add some maps and characters and stuff like that. But as far as the actual game itself, the skeleton of the game, I think this is it. So, like you said, there's no way I could never pay like $40 for it. But Game Pass, it it pretty much I think is going to save the game because it actually is fun, despite it not feeling, necessarily like I don't know, like it just leaves you with like you're wanting more, but because it's with Game Pass, you feel like you can't really ask for too much,
You accept it for what it is, yeah.
So I know for a fact that the developers, that's not what they were going for when they made this game, and that's unfortunate, but
It's a reality.
yeah, for Game Pass I'll pick it up, but for $40 there's no way.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's sad, man. It's the definition of potential. Oh yeah, that game has potential. But every game has potential, man. And at this point of the games and what developers have been doing, I don't care about that anymore. I need a product. I need something that's complete and that more content. In today's date, more content's gonna be added to because that's just how it is. But I don't know. I just don't like these half-done games or these games that just are missing out.
And it's like with this game, it is weird. I don't really have anything specific that's absolutely like terrible.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what's killing me. Like when I'm playing the game, and I'm playing as a certain character, all of the movement, like when I'm attacking, I feel like everything feels the way it should be. I don't know. That's what's killing me. I don't think I've ever really experienced something like this before with the game.
Yeah,
weird,
man. It's there's nothing you like, but there's nothing you hate. Ooh, that sounds like a real quote right there. There's nothing you like, but there's nothing you hate. And it's only because the game is essentially, like I said, because of Game Pass, so it's essentially free. So,
yeah.
But if this was $30, $40 game, easily say hell no. But now that it's free, yeah, you can play it. You can play it casually, and that's where it is. It's a casual game at best. Anything above that, if they try and make it an esport like every game's trying to do now, it's not gonna go anywhere. So
and that's kind of.
Go ahead.
And when I asked you that question, if you saw it, not the word I didn't use try hard, but I guess more serious. Yeah, more competitive. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like, because it didn't really feel like it was a game that you could like take super serious. Like there's no way this would ever end up in anyone's imagination on esports or whatever.
Yeah, it just doesn't have enough.
It's
team based. It's only got 11 characters. So what's gonna happen is the meta's gonna develop really quick, and it's gonna be stiff. So there's not enough characters right now. But yeah, I think that's a good summary of like what this game is, man. We've been recording for a minute, so this will be a nice little long session on there. I'll just slap it with the footage, But
nice.
Yeah, man. Well, there's a lot of other games coming out this year, so I mean, maybe this will take 30 days out of my day every maybe once a week or something, but other than that, it's a pretty forgettable experience. I hope to see it do something, but let's be honest, it probably won't. It's not enough publicity for it. But yeah, any closing statements out for this game?
Get Game Pass.
Yeah. Yo, cop. Yeah, if you ain't on it, get that. There's trials all over the place, dude. 1 month trial. There's all sorts of stuff. If you haven't done a trial already, you can definitely get one. And if not, buy it cheap. 1 month's are real cheap. But yeah, I agree. Same thing. Definition of potential. If you got Game Pass, give it a try. If you don't buy it, unless you get a demo. So it's really
there it is.
Simple. Yeah, man. It is that simple, dude. But man,
I appreciate you having me, HomeSkillz.
Yes, sir. This is good, man. We want to try and do this more with series. One of my boys brought up doing a podcast a long time ago, man. And I still gotta try and get that together too. So hopefully we can kind of do like a podcast or like a talking, some sort of system or something where we can all talk. That'd be dope.
I remember you mentioned that before.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll
that sounds pretty good.
But all right, man. Thank you. I'm about to end this recording here in a second. But yeah, it's been real. We'll definitely push on and get some other topics. So if anybody's watching, and they want to hear us talk about more stuff, just let us know in the comment section. We'll get it cracking, dude. It's already going past 30 minutes. It's gonna be a long one, dude. Thank you.